more I talk with him and think about what he talks about, I think we should go on a road show together, Al, because the ideas of change, knowledge, how fast technology moves, whether it be in Kazakhstan agriculture or technology, social media, the internet, there's a lot of similarities here. I just found this graph, and don't worry about all the numbers, it's more the concept of it, is, I bet there's more point on this, is the idea of the amount of knowledge we as a global society hold. So obviously Kazakhstan farmers are much behind farmers here, but as a whole, global agriculture, this was in the Globe yesterday, I found this. From the birth of Christ until the 1800s, here is how much knowledge people had, or how much society had. Then we skip over a 100-year period, that doubles. And then in a 50-year period, it doubles again. And then 25 years, it doubles again. 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, and 1 year doubles again. So the knowledge that we now have in the last 100 years compared to what we've had the rest of civilization as we know it. That's at what speed we're going at here now. The other thing I want to start off with is a movie. Well, a video. And because we're talking social media, I found it on YouTube. It's called Social Media Revolution 2. There was the first one. And of course, because all these numbers go up so quickly, the author of this made a new one. His name's Eric Qualman. He's an author with the book Social Nods, which is a very interesting book about social media marketing. But here's an idea of what we're dealing with. So, first of all, we've got all these numbers that we talked about. The big one, obviously, being Facebook. How many people here have a Facebook account? And I've updated it this morning. No, I'm just kidding. You don't need to do that. But, so a few people have a Facebook account. Does anybody want to share why they don't have a Facebook account? Not that I'm trying to put you on the spot, but just curious. Yep.
I still like my privacy.
Like your privacy, okay? Privacy is an issue if you read the paper at all with Facebook.
I haven't figured out the value in being part of Facebook.
Being a part of Facebook. Value is another thing. With Facebook, I see it as the personal network. So, you know, the reason that people tend to get on Facebook in the first place is to find out what their cousin's doing, what their friends from college are doing, and to just chat with them, see pictures. My wife, you know, we're going through every one of our friends is getting married stage, so she always likes to see pictures of the ring from her friend that she hasn't seen for 6 months because there's 90 pictures of the ring on Facebook, so she can see all of that. That's what she loves it for. And that's typically why people join in the first place. The fastest growing segment of Facebook users is actually your 55 plus crowd. So grandparents are now joining on because they want to see what grandkids are doing, or children, or friends, or whatever the case may be. YouTube. How many people, one, have an actual YouTube channel? Does anybody have a YouTube channel? They post videos. Katha is one. Al has one. How many people watch a YouTube video, say, maybe once a month? They get sent it of, you know, the cat licking the dog, whatever the funny little humorous thing may be. It's really shifted in terms of how people are sucking in content. I had a couple-hour layover in Calgary yesterday. I sat and watched YouTube, and in my row there were probably 3 other laptops. All of us were watching video. I don't know if they were all watching it on YouTube, but that's how people are now seem to be killing time for finding more information out. Twitter. Any Twitter users? Couple? Is Twitter a value issue as well in terms of they have not figured out the value of it? Anybody want to share why they're not on Twitter?
Time.
Time.
Time stealer.
Time stealer. And we'll get into social networks as a whole, but you've got to be careful because they can drain your day and get zero accomplished. But we'll get to that later on. Twitter is quickly becoming this new way that people seem to get information and send information to people that they probably don't have a clue about. The one fellow I was talking to several months ago said, Facebook is really for the people that you knew or you have known. Twitter is for the people you're going to know. So it is much more about connecting with people who maybe share your interests or hobbies, or that you're just trying to connect and get information from. And then mobile. How many people have a BlackBerry, iPhone, Android, smartphone in general? Pretty much everybody. How many people are new to it within the last year to a smartphone? Oh, so early adopters, good. How many people use it for only phone and email? What else do you use your smartphone for? Anything?
Yes. Browser.
Just browser.
Rider app.
The Rider app. Good. All right, so there's a lot of different things you can do. The interesting part that I find about this is just how quickly people are essentially, now when you go into the store to renew a cell phone contract, it's awfully hard to find a phone that just is a phone. When you go in, chances are you're coming out with one of these types of smartphones. And it really is shifting very quickly out of the business world that was the first to adopt it and into just everyday personal use. My two brothers are a fine example of their contracts came up and they went to BlackBerries, and now the three of us, I've got a sister as well, her contract comes up next month, so she'll probably get one too. But now the three of us will chat through BlackBerry Messenger, and that's almost entirely how we communicate with each other unless we're actually in a room together. Which doesn't happen very often because one's in Northern Ontario and, I'm traveling around too, so that's just how we communicate. We can all chat, every couple of days and probably be more connected than we would any other way. So the big question, of course, in all of this is how does it relate to agriculture and farmers? How are they using it? This came from Ipsos, and it's from the spring of this year, so this is about as recent data as you can get. Just in terms of what farmers are using the internet for. This, of course, is not the entire list, but it's kind of the top end and the bottom end of what farmers are using it for. Obviously, they're just surfing, using ag websites, email, and then that 1 in 5 is now using it for reading a blog or listening to a podcast or whatever that may be. The thing that I look at that and see that 1 in 5 is where were ag websites and email even 3 years ago? They were probably down at 1 in 5. So I see blogs and podcasts and all of this technology only growing, and part of that is the younger generation of farmers who are coming in now, and they're on all of these tools talking with their college buddies that they've been away from for half a dozen years now, and they're using all of these tools, and now they're coming into the operation and starting to make decisions about this operation. And then, of course, what are they actually looking for? The majority, no surprise, is marketing information and weather are the big ones that farmers are looking for. But they're also getting a lot of production information out of it. The 3/4 using online banking actually surprised me. I didn't think it would be quite that high, but 3/4 of farmers are, and these are large producers, mind you, but are using online banking. And then communicating with agribusiness and actually making farm-related purchases is in that 1/2. But again, all of these numbers just seem to trend up when you look at the research from the year before and the year before and the year before. So the tools, obviously, here's a dozen of them. There are hundreds and hundreds of networks out there. So the big thing that you as advisors have to do, or anybody looking to get on the social network, first is to not go out and sign up for 200 different social networks, because that's one of the ways that it really is a waste of time. But you do have to figure out why you want to do it in the first place. The big one is obviously sharing information with your producers or with your colleagues or whatever it may be, is that sharing information and having that online conversation. So can you somehow, using this, actually improve that information flow that you've got to the producer? Internally for us, one of the things we do, one of the logos on the wheel is the risk management side. I think probably all of you get that email as part of the sponsorship. And I don't know how many of you clicked on the video to watch it, but using that video and posting it on YouTube now, we've seen a big increase in the number of producers actually taking in this information. They, would sometimes get to the email to read all the report and recommendation information and, that essentially 20-minute read through of the email. However, more are now just clicking on it, watch that video in 5 minutes, and they're done. And they've sucked in that same amount of information. However, it's been in a form that they seem to be able to better connect with. And that's really the power of video. Can you improve your brand, and can you do it cheaper than taking out $1 million contract with CTV through TV? Are there ways that you can kind of cut costs? Because really all of these social media tools generally are free. Some of them, once you get into advanced features and business uses, are looking for a bit of a premium. But really the investment into it is the time, which of course costs money. However, when it's not time and $10,000 on top of it, are you saving? And then are you actually making the connection with the next generation of farmers? Myself being one, we're now coming into the farm and now maybe not having a final decision on everything just yet, but we're certainly influencers in the decision-making process, and we do actually now have the power to control certain situations on the farm, and will be within the next few years. So Facebook, going back to Facebook, there are lots of things you can do. What I'll do is I'll go through how some other companies and associations are using these tools today. How many people, Facebook is a completely new world to them and they don't even know what you can do on Facebook? Okay, so what you can do, when you sign up first, obviously the first thing you do is you try to make new friends. And so you go through, and once you start finding a few of your friends, then what it does is it starts recommending other friends that you may know based on, okay, you know Tim, Laura, and Dave. Well, Susie also knows Tim, Laura, and Dave, so maybe you're in the same circle. So it'll start suggesting friends to you, and then gradually you build up your network. You can include status updates to share with the world what you're thinking, what you're doing, all that type of stuff. You can like certain companies, brands, ideas, groups, whatever it may be. You can go in and say, you know what, I'm interested in this brand or this information. The Globe and Mail being one of them. The Globe and Mail, I'm a big fan of what they do online in terms of trying to spread out. So I've gone in and I've liked their page, and now whenever they send an update, it comes into my personal news feed to say, you know what, you've been interested in the Globe and Mail, so here's their latest information. And so now all of a sudden, instead of me having to always remember to go back to the website, I can quickly go through and say, you know what, I am interested in that oil prices could drop next year. I'm going to click and go to the website to see that information.